Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of 3 Minutes to Midnight. My name is Lori Alexander, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ejay Clinton. And we are joined today by a special guest. We have in the house Truth Talk News, Howard NEMA, howardnema.com, Truth Broadcast Network. He's also an editor with me over on Exposing Satanic World Government. Howard, did I miss anything?
Oh, yeah, pretty much that covers it.
Covers
also
it.
the new channel, because they shut down my other channel. I'm trying to promote a little Truth Talk News channel too.
Right.
I'm not able to upload to my other channel.
Oops, just a second here.
First you
I
read the
apologize.
textbook, then you attend the thrice.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, they took down your other network, right?
Yeah, YouTube shut down one of my channels, really illegally. It's ridiculous. And the actual movie that they shut it down with, that I put up there for fair use, that was up there for a long, long time, was Brotherhood of the Bell. I don't know if you've all seen that movie, but it rang true to me because of the significance to this whole Freemasonic connection. And the movie's sort of loosely based on Skull and Bones, and
I think I've seen different clips of it in documentaries.
You might have. It was Glenn Ford is in it, and it's really amazing movie to see, actually, because there's even a character played by, remember William Conrad, the guy that played Cannon? Remember Cannon?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, he plays a guy like Alex Jones, and but at the same time, also sort of like a mix between like Alex Jones and Morton Downey Jr. Not Morton Downey Jr., Morton Downey. Really abrasive. And this one guy who was a member of the cult, a member of the, is tasked to convince somebody not to take a position at a school. And if he did, these letters would go out, and the people that he knew would all be murdered and all this stuff. And instead of the teacher doing this, the teacher actually commits suicide rather than do this. So now he has this burden on because he was given this assignment by the order. And it really illustrates how it works. And then how when he starts to try to expose the order, how everything in the system just works against him. Nobody believes him. He can't get any credibility. People won't help him. People won't do anything. And it's really like not a fiction.
Wow.
And I thought it was interesting that they chose that movie to target out of all the movies. I have plenty of film all over there. There's plenty of movies, and it was an NBC copyright, by the way. That's what they claimed. Video was up there for I think 3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Too much truth for people.
Well, I don't know. I think it was more like just trying to make a point with it. They could have done it for any video, right? I mean, they could just claim, because you get these 3 strikes, this bullshit 3-strike thing here that they give you. When everything on my channels are all fair use. But, we're just wasting time talking about that. That's just my own aggravation with YouTube. I'm sure everybody who's doing this has the same problems,
Yes, we've all experienced it. I've gotten strikes from the Honor Network, from Lenny Posner on both of my other channels. Luckily I've fought it and won both of them, thank goodness. But we all get them. This is something we have to face. Even though it's fair use, they still come after us, and we basically don't have any recourse with them.
There is no recourse because it's a private corporation.
Exactly.
See, they have the right. They have the right to take NBC's side. They have the right. But meanwhile, I'll give this other point, which is very interesting. None of my channels are monetized at all, but they put videos. They put advertisements on them, those little ads.
Yeah.
And on the other channel that they shut down, actually, it was ridiculous because I had so many videos that actually were claimed by monetized claims by others that they still let me keep there. But now all those videos went away, so that they actually shot revenue away from YouTube to shut me down. Does that make sense? No, honestly, does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes no sense whatsoever. But you know what? Here's the thing. It's their playground. It's their rules, right?
Right. So that's really what happened, because I think there was something like 600, 500 videos, and many of them they have, when you get these claims, because we all get them.
Oh yeah.
copyright monetized by somebody else, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they'll let you watch it to get their ad revenue. So
Exactly.
the channel got 200,000 views a month. So they threw some money away to just
promoting their propaganda.
Oh yeah, you weren't promoting their propaganda. That's the thing. I mean,
Yep.
Channels like ours, Howard, they come after us because we don't fall into the categories. We don't toe the line. We don't fit their narrative, and we don't play their games.
Well, speaking of narrative, I think there's an interesting narrative that's developed with this shooting in Orlando, the terrorist attack or PSYOP / terrorist attack. I think we have like what you would call real world stuff going on, and then also at the same time PSYOP and covert black op. My view of this whole, well, in many ways, and this is what I put together a couple of videos, but it was more like I was sort of also assembling my thoughts over the last few days, and it's gotten even clearer, where I see that it's very possible that all the times when they reveal these things that look like having actors there and all of that, I think it's more intentional. Like they actually want to distract us to that point. Look at this, and look at the blood, and look at this, and when there's something else actually more important. But there's a lot of things that made no sense. Like we're never going to see all these bullet holes in the walls because there's supposed to be so many of them. They'll never show that. And also the fact that it's physically impossible for one human being to, first of all, go in with an AR-15 and 1,000 rounds on their personal body. I mean, it's impossible. Just to do it. Or maybe an ammo can, right? I don't know. But how is he doing it? In 7 minutes, he did all of this carnage and then stopped for 3 hours.
Right.
Just the first thing is that it said that he had 30 magazines. 30 magazines is 900 rounds. Right?
That's a lot of weight right there.
That's a lot of weight. And not only that, 345 of the rounds hit the people at a kill rate, I think, of 3.45. So if that was the kill rate, that's like Rambo. I mean, like the greatest killer, or he was a super soldier.
I was just going to make that point. This then leads us to
the ability to, right? Like in other words, he could have been. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, the PSYOP could be anything.
Yeah. This leads us to wonder: has he been trained in these camps that we're hearing about?
Yeah, and or genetically modified.
Oh, genetically modified.
And then they kill him because they always kill them.
Right. They always kill them.
Or they're easily disposed
They
of.
always die, or they shoot themselves,
or if they don't, they look so spaced out or drugged up.
Their mind is wiped, like Sirhan doesn't know what the hell happened.
Right. Exactly. Up on the screen, I do have your article that you wrote on Truth Talk News or HOWARDNEMA.com, and great article as usual. I follow I watch your page all the time. You always have great points, and I always value your opinion. I usually come to you for talking points, and just kind of just to verify what I'm already thinking.
Well, that's what's amazing. No, I mean, like the group of us, we've all what's interesting. What I thought about it while I was driving home from work. I thought that it was like this interesting thing that what we're really doing is sort of like with lawyers, with attorneys in a court. We're gathering evidence, right, and corroborating evidence, because what's happening is that, listen, I corroborate the same evidence that you just found, Lori, and you corroborated evidence.
Yep.
And we all. How could we all corroborate all of the same evidence? I mean, with 85%. I mean, maybe people I don't think that it's all like, again, I think that people really die. I know people die because the woman that died here in my town, I have a close friend of mine that knew her, went to school with her.
Yeah.
So this woman existed, and they had a big vigil here in Torrington. It made the news.
Well, I think that's what I want to do, and I do this on every show that we talk about this. I want to make
there's two things going on. That's what I mean, Laurie. I think there's like the real world, and then there's a PSYOP and black op going along with it. Like if it wasn't a super soldier, it was maybe two other operatives that were brought in,
right,
to that were maybe already in there, right, to really pop up that body count. Because the accuracy of it, that's why I go back to the accuracy. Doesn't it make any sense? How can you, I mean, a really good soldier, an average soldier, let's say an average soldier, I think it's something like it would be like 1,000 rounds. How much it would, to kill one, it's like, I think somewhere around the lines of one person, it's like 150 rounds in a combat situation. And these people are running around and running for their lives, right? I think that, like, who the hell knows, man?
And we have some of the victims that they're claiming that have been shot 12, 15 times. And yet we're not seeing the death rate go up from the other day. What stopped at 53, we're not seeing it, or it stopped at 49. It stopped at 49. We're not seeing any further deaths. And we have people in the hospital right now, they're claiming to have 12 to 15 rounds in them. We have this one woman who they just interviewed. She is home already. She had a through and through between in her abdomen, went in her front and out her back, and she's home already. Are you kidding me? Really? Seriously? We're supposed to believe this.
It's like, how do they already have, like, Patience Carter, her story already out there?
Yeah.
But we don't have any information about the 911 call that he allegedly made.
Well, there is no 911 call. The 911 system went down for maintenance from midnight to 3 a.m.
Oh, how convenient. I mean, I think it's funny that they're able to release the video of LaVoy Finicum right after he's murdered and all this other evidence supporting it. But with this, where there's all kinds of other leading evidence pointing to what should be a pretty much open and shut case, it's vague. We see how they're just making all these indiscrepancies and these things are coming up.
Exactly. And we have a state of the art. I don't know if you saw the inside of the club, but we have a state of the art club, video TVs all over the place, sound system, but yet there's no CCTV system. There's no.
They didn't have a camera system?
They didn't have a camera system.
Really? That's the most surprising, or that's the most alerting thing of all, because that would make sense that they would, unless they chose the location. You know, like, I mean, this is for a lot of people, especially newcomers or people that I'm trying to wake up, like a lot of my people that I've known for years that I just sort of like think that I'm a nut, I guess. I don't know. But
Join the club.
tying the loose ends up here is that there are programs. You can research MK Ultra, you could research many different Operation Often and other programs where they behavioral modifications, mind control, it's real. And now they have the capability of literally creating, people that don't even know what they're doing. They do it because they've been programmed to do it.
Right.
And it's not a movie.
Right.
They can do it. It's real.
I'm glad you talked about this earlier with the super soldiers, and we're over here on the topic with MK Ultra.
The Black Awakening.
Talking about it.
The Black Awakening.
The Black Awakening. Russ Dizdar talks about it as well, how we're just going to see large, intense attacks and how they're increasing. And these people, how they can just be activated off of any random trigger. I mean,
do you remember that movie Telephone with Charles Bronson? And he was a KGB agent, and this guy got a book of all these names of these sleepers in America. They were living in like Kansas, like a Kansas farmhouse and all this. And then he would call the house and he would say, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, and you have promises to keep, but we have miles to go before you sleep, the Robert Frost poem. And they would all just turn a switch off and they would go, and then they would have this shit that was hidden, all these weapons and all this stuff, and go and go on jihad, for lack of a better word. 1977.
Yeah, that makes sense. Whenever they have shows like
they made it the Cold War. It was the Cold War type thing.
Right. Well, there we go with
Americans that came out too.
Well, there we go with telegraphing. That's typical.
That show Americans that came out as well.
Yep.
Oh, same thing. They make it fun with the CIA. Now there's a new movie, like they're trying to make a comedy of it called Central Intelligence with forget the actor, funny guy, black guy, not African American. I hate that African American thing. I'm sorry, but it's like unless you were born in Africa, then
come to America,
you're not African American. I mean, that would be an African American. An African American would be someone who actually lived in Africa and then came to America. If you were born in America, you're an American American. Africa is a continent.
American American.
Right. No, I agree with that.
But I mean, this is just logic. I mean, see, they don't want you to think logic. They want you to think their way.
Right.
They want you to think emotionally charged.
Correct. They want to emotionally charge you and anger you with every possible chance they can, and say that you're a racist, you're whatever.
And you know what? That's exactly what I think is happening with this whole Orlando thing. Is, I mean, they tried to emotionally charge us with Sandy Hook, and they targeted the children. That sort of wore its course. It's kind of done its thing, and now we're seeing in the last year, we've seen this push for this transgender, and now the bathroom thing, and the gay and lesbian rights, and LGBT everything here.
So what better way to hit the gun control than to hit these guys, right?
Right. What better group of people to hit next than the next vulnerable, and that is the LGBT community. What better way to emotionally charge this country? Because, I mean, if you look at it, people are thinking, oh my gosh, now they're going to go after this group of people, and and then they have the crisis actors on TV, the mother. I don't know if you saw that interview.
Oh, God,
oh my God. I was on the air for quite a few hours on Sunday, and Sunday I started just doing a feed through RT. But then some things had come to me, and one of them was that video. So I broke in, and I came on live. Sat down, and I said, we're going to watch this video. So we started watching it, and I was like, first of all, just lady, cry me one tear. One tear it's all I ask, is just give me one tear. If that was my child, I would have snot running down my nose into my mouth. My eyes would be swollen shut. The last thing I would, first of all, would be on TV.
TV, right.
But then here's the thing, is towards the end, all of a sudden she says that she starts with, we need more gun control. And I paused it, and I went, there you go, people. There you go. So what better group of people to pick to attack now than the LGBT community? Because, like I said, emotionally charged, the population, and now pushing for more gun control. And I don't know, maybe they'll get it this time.
I don't know if this is
think about it. It's a gay Muslim. That's the perfect thing for anyone.
It is the perfect storm right there.
But they're still trying to paint it as a hate crime from the point of view of the gay community, which is bizarre.
Well,
you see, they don't want to call it Islamic terror. This one guy agrees that it's terrorism, and it's a hate crime. I mean, what is this?
They pretty much have destroyed the original narrative because it's come out that he was a regular at the club, and that he did have profiles on some gay websites. So I mean, there destroys that narrative that he got upset that he saw two guys kissing. That destroys it right there. That just kind of puts it right in the.
Well, the whole thing is just it's like a soap opera. The news is truly just a soap opera, but it's been that way for decades. I mean, they just
they're trying to put way too much.
They listen to it. You remember with 9/11 when they report the buildings down, and it didn't even fall yet for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, building 7.
Yeah.
Didn't even fall yet, and Jane Staley, she's reporting, the building fell down and it's right behind her, and then they figured it out and they caught. But this is like, it's right in front of everyone's eyes. Nobody sees it. I still can't believe it sometimes. It's like so. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, looking back on 9/11 now, it's more surreal to me now, because
it's so unbelievable that.
Well, it's so unbelievable that we actually believed it for so long.
I believed it until 2007.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's when I started to wake up. That's really when I started to wake up.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I think mine was probably maybe a little bit later than that, maybe a year or so, that I started actually believing it and wanting to, because, here's the thing. Talk about emotionally charging, and I brought this up on another show. Here we were, a nation that had never experienced an attack on American soil. We didn't have to worry about going to work and having car bombs going off, or snipers taking us out when we're taking the kids to the schoolyard. We didn't have to worry about that. We were pretty much in this nice little bubble, and we were protected. And on that fateful day, in the matter of a split second, our bubble was bursted, and our entire safety net was dropped from underneath us, and we were just, oh my God, what has happened to the, we were just emotionally frazzled. And that's why, I can remember being glued to the TV for days
Oh yeah, it was definitely well, it's what they call oh my God, well it was certainly what you would call a mass, you know, the entire world pretty much watched this event and were, I believe it was mass trauma. It was just like the idea of mind control, the idea of trauma-based mind control.
Trauma-based mind control, right? Yeah.
You have to actually produce traumas, different types, sexual abuse. It could be physical abuse, torture, you know.
And this was trauma.
Abuse.
Right. This was
psychological
trauma.
abuse. And this was definitely a mass. It gave every American, every person in the world, basically,
a mass ritual.
It was ritual.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was ritual. That's a good word to use, brother.
And that's why when the Patriot Act came out, we were all willing for it because we were so traumatized and we wanted that protection back, and we were willing to give our government anything they needed. We'll give you anything, just make us safe again, please, please. We were begging them. And this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted to traumatize us so badly that we would give up any right that they asked us, because it was for our own good. It's for your own good.
It's always for our own good, Laurie.
Right.
That's what's happening right now.
And that's what's happening right now.
With this
for our own good. We got to get rid of guns, so the militias have no more machine guns.
Right.
No more, you know, like
because the liberals.
I got to tell you guys, I almost keeled over. Thank God I was sitting down when I heard Obama say the terrorists will stop attacking if we don't have guns.
Yeah, the lunacy is beyond words.
If you think about it, those signs that say no gun zones, those are the perfect place for people to go.
Those are where they go. Look they go to the schools. They go to I gotta tell you,
it's like a fox in a chicken coop. They're going to go right to the place, the sweet spot. They're going to go where they can.
What do you think a gunman does? Do you think a gunman walks up to a place and as he sees on the sign that they're on the door that says no guns allowed, and he turns around and goes home because he can't go in there? Hell no, he's going to go in there because he's going to know there's nobody that's going to fight back.
That's right. That's exactly what's going on here, and I think we're going to find it to be very disconcerting when these things aren't all going to be operations that are conducted, you know, with cohesion. A lot of it's going to be, you know, random, and I think we're going to find people that are just going to really be self-radicalized, and no one wants to talk about that either too much. But I think that's happening everywhere. And that's also something. It's not these big events that they're going to publicize and you can tell that there is a psyop or there's something not right or it's a complete fraud or whatever. Like these recent shootings in Orlando's just doesn't make sense at all. Nothing makes sense with that.
Right.
No, I'm glad you said that, because the radicalization is happening. Like you can definitely see. And even if they're not sanctioned by the FBI or the CIA, exactly, they want it to happen. They're trying to wind up these people. They're trying to let these attacks occur to where it creates this air of chaos, this air of terror, to where these people who support ISIS or these people who are even borderline personality cases, they feel like this is the perfect time to attack. This is the perfect time to commit the jihad in America. And while we're sitting here propagating all these attacks like the Orlando shooting, the San Bernardino shooting, the Paris attacks, the Brussels attacks, this gives validation to those people out there that think, hey, oh my God, we're on the winning team. We're starting to come up, guys. This is our time to shine. And so whenever they do that, whenever we give airtime to these people that conduct these terror attacks to create this air of fear, that's all that we're doing, is we're stoking the fire with exactly what they need, giving them what they want.
And it just seems,
100%.
and it seems weird that, or it doesn't seem weird, but it seems, you know, quite suspect that we're seeing all of this happening now during the home stretch of the upcoming elections. You know?
Oh yeah, it's going to get worse. You know, there's going to be much more. Something big is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I feel it. I've been feeling it for a while. This isn't it. I mean, this is nothing. I'm sorry, I don't want to say nothing, but what they're planning is way worse than this.
Absolutely, and I've been putting, you know, telling people, you know, to.
And when it happens, believe me, it's not whatever they said it is. Whatever it is, even if you can't believe it, don't believe what they tell you.
Right.
We didn't expect 9/11. What's going to come around the corner?
Yeah.
What's gonna shake us so hard that we're gonna.
Well, it's going to have to be something that's going to shake us worse than 9/11. I mean, it's going to be something that's going to just shake us to the core, because I mean, this is, you think about it, they progressively, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Oh yeah.
You know, so whatever is coming, and you're right, there is something coming. We've been feeling it in our bones for a while. It's gone from feeling it in my bones to like a heaviness on my chest.
Kind of just waiting for it to happen to see what the anticipation
to
is.
see what it is. You know it's coming. You know, it's a matter of what it is, and there's no reason to speculate. It could be so many different things.
And it's not a question of if, it's when.
It's correct. It is more like exactly. It's not a question of what or if, it's when.
It's when. Exactly. I want to touch base with you a little. We talked about the elections. What is your I know the two things, you should never talk about at a party is religion and politics, but I want to get your take on the upcoming election. What is your take? I know personally, let me just tell you my thing. Personally, I'm really disappointed with a lot of the young people here in the United States that don't know the difference or don't know the similarities between socialism and communism.
Oh my God.
I'm very,
indoctrination system.
Yeah, and you can tell all the Bernie supporters are the young people. But it was same back in the 60s when they jumped on the kumbaya, let's free everything, free love, free everything, and this is, they don't understand that eventually that money that's paying for that free stuff is gonna run out, guys. It's coming from someplace and it's gonna run out.
Well, I'm totally against this entire socialist transformation, because that's what it is. I mean, it has always been intended to be a socialist transformation from ages ago, from the earliest meetings of the elders of the secret societies. They have planned this. We're talking like before Greece. We're talking they spoke of Atlantis. That's what it is. It's the Atlanteans. It's this theory of creating this utopian society where man becomes God and is worshipped like a god, and a two-class neo-feudal system controlled by the central banks, and that is what it is. And these people believe they are God. They believe, the bankers truly believe they are God. The owners of the banks, I should say.
That's whenever we start talking about transhumanism and these.
That's why it's coming. They want that, big time. Because now, wouldn't it be great if you could live immortally and maybe like shave off 50 years of your life?
Would I have to pay taxes?
No. We'll put you in this little vacuum. You can think and imagine anything you want. You're virtually alive for all eternity.
I don't know.
That's what they're. I mean, I've read these books.
Oh yeah.
I've read stuff from. Oh my God, you got to read something called. Oh my God, it's Ray Kurzweil's Singularity. Okay, where we will actually become one with the computer and all this stuff, and it goes into that, and his book is just outrageous.
Well,
and if you read it,
when did he write the book?
It's about in the early 2000s, I guess.
Because I was going to say, I mean, we're seeing it now. We're seeing the singularity. We're seeing.
He works for Google.
Yep, he works for Google. He's always coming out. He's writing articles. He has his own website. He's talking about how things like digital. What is it? Digital contraceptives. Digital immortality. Being able to transfer our consciousness through technology. Being able to he even talks about resurrecting his old father.
They already can do it. It's just because they're telling us it's 2045, they can already do it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
they're
it's
trying
already
to get us into the matrix that they've already built.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Like the infrastructure is already built. They're just trying to get the minds and everybody else in this great calling to get ready to just go right into the matrix willingly. That's another form of the mark of the beast. If we want to go down that chapter, the transhumanism.
We're also
the technology is a.
Well, it's also the book of Daniel, the melting of the iron in the clay. I mean, that's transhumanism right there. That's the AI aspect of everything. You know, so I mean, we're seeing it. It's happening.
Well, Kubrick alluded to it. I mean,
Right.
Stanley Kubrick is, again, I think what happened with Stanley Kubrick is, like, he was clearly, you know, he got in over his head. I don't
Yes.
think he realized what he was
What
getting
it's getting
involved
into.
with. And
Isn't it, what is it, Rockefeller or Rothschild? One of them has a picture of him up in one of their mansions.
oh yeah,
And they unveiled it 6 days before he, quote unquote, died.
well, they filmed that sex scene, you know, like the scene, the satanic ritual. That was a Rothschild property.
Eyes wide open, or eyes wide shut. Eyes wide
You know,
shut.
when they had the circle,
Yes.
the circle, the satanic.
Yes. Yeah, that was, yeah.
The Luciferians.
That movie right there is what got Kubrick killed.
Yes, I believe you're right, and I proved it. I can prove it because if you watched a couple of the videos I put together, the exact same sequence occurs talking about all this transhumanism in Logan's Run. So we're really keeping this
Oh my
on
God.
point.
Oh my God. Thank
Do you
you.
remember the circle?
Yes.
They would-
Thank
And
you.
they dropped their robes the same way the women drop their robes. I even put a video together and I edited the two things
Did you
together.
really? If you go back into Exposing
Where is it?
Satanic
You should
World
tell me.
Government, if you go back in our timeline pictures, I did a whole post on the equivalent between the Satanic Circle and Logan's Run.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody-
Eyes wide shut, but it's amazing because they were wearing that, you know, in Logan's Run, if you remember, they all drop their robes, just like the girls drop their robes, and they're all naked, you know, in the circle. And the camera is moving in a circle, and the center of the circle, of course, is Lucifer, the light, right? The personification of the light,
right?
With that red symbol, which everyone had in their hand.
On their hands, yeah.
Yep. The mark of the beast.
Mark of the
it is
beast.
true. I mean, you can look at it from all different points of view, from biblical, from their religion, you know, and it is their religion. This is what they're, you know, they're just they worship knowledge and
worship Lucifer.
And they worship Lucifer and the ancient gods of the mysteries. That's I mean, that's what my research, and we all say the same thing, and we've all researched this, and
you can't get down to the bottom of this without understanding that these are all acts of the devil. Like these people, these are all puppets that are doing the deeds of their father, the acts of Satan. I mean, and even if they're not doing the deeds of their father, Satan, then they're still conducting negative acts against humanity. Like there's no real rational way to explain this without getting to the fact that we're dealing with psychopaths who want to destroy us, who feel like their way of life, traveling around in private jets, doing all kinds of cocaine, doing all kinds of drinking, destroying themselves with homosexuality and even all kinds of sexual depravity. They think, hey, this is what people need. They need to live like us, where there's no rules, where everything's anarchy, where nothing has meaning.
And there's no consequences.
Well, that's what it is. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. That's their law. The book of the law, you know? Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're seeing now. And
Stanley P. Hall, the same thing. This whole idea of and the idea of the control of society by the Enlightenment. Like they feel that not only do they have a stewardship of the earth, and they have not only a right but a duty to do this. So it's like sort of they must do this for the better of humanity.
For the better of humanity, exactly.
They believe what they're doing is absolutely right.
I was just going to say, they do. They totally believe in their minds that what they're doing is for the betterment of society.
The end justifies the means.
Right. I mean,
I was just about to go into how Zionist Jews and these people talk about us being goyim, how we're sheep to be culled by them, and how you guys are right, how they see that it's their duty and their sacred right to watch over us, and when really they just degrade and dehumanize us with their acts.
Right. And they put forth every effort they can to carry this out. I mean, you know, people are like, well, you know, what's the old saying? It's not written in stone. Well, actually it is. It's written in stone. It's written on it's written on the Georgia Guidestones. So the first commandment up there is to reduce the population down to a manageable 500 million. And if you do the math on that, that's about 90% of the population has to be culled or taken out or destroyed or killed or whatever you want to say.
And listen, with all the speculation, but we always keep getting all this evidence and information. So now we talk about this transhumanism thing, and it could be within 100 years that they could do that. If they can convince enough people to be Logan's Run, you know, die at 30, do whatever they want during their lives, have sex with everybody, do whatever they want, legalize pedophilia, legalize, murder, whatever. They don't care. They even believe, I've read their writings, they even believe that murder, if one learns from murder, it's good. Did you know that?
Wow.
I did not.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, there's some great books. I got links at howardnema.com, all this Freemasonic stuff and all the secret Manly P. Hall and all this. And yeah, the idea that even if one murders, Manly P. Hall, even if one murders, if one learns from it, it can be a good thing, a just thing.
Howard, could I get your opinion? Have you heard, or what's your opinion on gene drives and altering the human genome? Things like CRISPR, genetic modification, because we touched on it briefly at the start of the episode. I'm just kind of curious as to what you think on things such as gene drive and GMO soldiers, even, if you want to go down that path.
Well, I think there's a lot. I mean, with the GMO especially, but the modified organisms, but what they've been doing, and what frightens me is, they're messing, with the stem cell research, everything with this, again, it is Luciferian. It is certainly satanic, whatever you want to call it, the devil, the evil one. There's, Mordor. I mean, every religion has a different word for it. Lucifer, Osiris, all of these things, the evil dark force, whatever, it's all connected to what's the motivating factor. They all are doing evil and making it appear to be good. Just like Jesus, just like we were warned, just like the Bible warns us. That disguised as the angel of Lucifer will be, I forget the exact phrasing, but Lucifer will come
disguised as an angel of light.
Disguised as an angel of light, right? And that's exactly what it is, because their God is the angel of light, which is known as Lucifer, the son of the morning.
The great architect.
The great architect, yes. And the great work is the New World Order, building the temple, rebuilding the Temple of Solomon, rebuilding the temple and the prophet of Isaiah and all this. Oh my God, it goes into all this. So there's a connection, a biblical connection, but I think to their religion to it. So it is not like their religion. The religions and the books of the Bible that are missing. I don't know enough about this. I know Harry knows a lot about this stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Harry on. I'm trying to
we got to do that, because we could really talk about stuff. I'm
so trying. I mean, I know he'll come back when he's ready, but I think maybe he just needs a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
But
everyone comes at it whenever they're ready.
Well, I talked to him quite a bit on the phone.
Put pieces together, and it's really all the stuff we've been talking about. Really, all ties down to the beginning. We're talking about this gun control. So let's say, here's the thing: we have this order that was put together that wrote down their plans that we know on paper as it's much earlier, it's ancient, but the modern day proof that is provable is in the late 18th century, 1798. That's the earliest that we heard of their plan. And every single thing that they were in their plan to destroy the monarchies and religions of the world has been utilized. And everything that was put down in a book called The Protocols of the Elders, Learned Elders of Zion, which was really an Illuminati doctrine.
Handbook.
Handbook. Yeah. Has come to pass as well. Even things that didn't exist when that was written, and that was first published publicly in 1903.
Right.
So everything that's come to pass there as well. But the difference is, and you call it Zionist. Zionism is Nazism, it's communism, it's all of these isms, it's all the Illuminati. Right. They create these diversions, they create all of these warring factions against each other, these ideologies. They've been doing this. This is what they do. And they say that they do it, and they tell that they write it down.
Right. And they're both sides, and they're not one side fighting the other. They're both sides. They control both sides of the narrative.
Control both sides, right?
They're both wolves deciding on how to eat the sheep.
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing. Exactly. And what's going on here with the protocols is that everyone thinks that, again, that this whole how they use anti-Semitism as a weapon, and even talk about it. Or Herzl talked about it, that you have to.
Here's the thing with that.
Terrible,
Here's the thing with that whole anti-Semitic thing is you got to be Semitic in the first place to be an anti-anything.
Correct. That's true.
Okay, you know, but that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, they're not. That's another, of course. But my point is that it was blamed on them because they were the scapegoats for all this other stuff in the first place, and the Muslims slaughtered them. Everyone kills them, and so let's just give them a little more trouble. And of course, let's talk about Muslims and the rise of Islam. That comes from Freemasonry as well.
Right.
Yep.
Sure does.
Islam was created actually by the
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
what they're supposed to be used as devices for the third
exact
war.
conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Muslim religion was actually created to be used by the church in the end days as their sword.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we're seeing. You know, the Catholic Church is carrying out its agenda.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right, and they're not even getting their hands dirty because now they've got other people that are doing it for them, the Muslims.
That's
It's
whenever
true.
you have
It's
the Pope going
insidious
on to go.
evil. We're dealing with the most insidious evil that people just can't even wrap their brains around. We talked about, I was just saying, the dark force, Satan, whatever you want to call it. It's just malevolent evil, and society is getting evil. TV is evil.
Yeah.
TV shows everything's evil and dark. And
Well, the moral decay of society we've seen since the 1950s. I mean, I say this. I did a show on it last week on it, and I said it back in the 50s. We had the atomic family, nuclear family. We had mom and dad were together. Mom stayed at home, took care of the kids. Dad went to work. Ozzie and Harriet, Leave It to Beaver. And then we've slowly seen the family unit attacked, destroyed, just entirely eradicated. It's been totally eradicated to now, we've got latchkey children. We've got, I mean, come on, they're teaching oral.
Let's talk about that. It's funny. If we address all those exact bullet points, let's put some clarity to it. So what happened? What caused this? And I have several ideas or several comments on it. The first thing that they did was that they created the women's lib movement.
Right. Yep.
To break up the family and say that you're not a real woman unless you have your own career.
Exactly.
And they've been working to break the family up. That's how, and it's actually in a great book by Joel Skousen, or whatever his name is, Skousen, I think his last name. The Naked Communist goes into these points, and it's funny, all these points have happened. And that was written in 58 or 59, something like that. And that's exactly what Joel Skousen, that's Skousen, right? Senior. And what happened after the creation of Women's Lib Movement, which was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, and so was Ms. Magazine. That was her magazine. Mm-hmm. So Gloria Steinem, just a total plant. Right. Total plant for the abortion industry, the whole thing. Exactly. It was all done to create abortions and to break up the family, and to start, at the same time, the CIA then started giving people like Ken Kesey a bunch of acid to go around and hang out with people like Timothy Leary to promote LSD, and went around with the Grateful Dead. And Robert Hunter was a CIA operative who wrote the songs for the Grateful Dead. And there's a song called U.S. Blues, if you know the Dead, and it says, hiding out in a rock and roll band, working for Uncle Sam. And that's the lyrics in the song. So,
wow, I'm not.
Face, but you never even noticed it.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, when you're singing, it's one of those things that we never sing the right lyrics anyways when we're singing a song. So but it's if you start digging out. Dig out the lyrics, start reading the lyrics of the older songs, the Beatles. We're talking about the Tavistock Institute with the Beatles. So we're seeing all of that, and this is it's each one has been a step in their plan. Starting with the women's rights movement, the abortion. I mean, it's all been aimed at destroying and eradicating the family unit.
Yep.
Destroy the children. Yeah.
And then as they do that, and then let's continue, because all those bullet points we're addressing and making logical, analysis of it. Now you have to add to that. You say, well, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to increase. Okay, we're going to increase the
gender identities.
No. I'm talking about. We're still in like the '60s now, right? Like early '60s, mid '60s. We're going to start slowly moving ourselves off the gold standard and increase debt. So what's going to end up happening is that prices, because of inflation, well, we know what happened with the inflation. That was all. The whole thing with the energy prices was a total rip-off, fraud.
Well, it was designed to put the family in debt, and which would cause the mother
to force mommy
to have to go to
that
work.
Doesn't want to be the independent, go out and make the bacon and fry it up in a pan and show that she's not going to forget you're a man. All that, that thing that everybody knows. No matter whoever lived through the '70s, you know that song. Anjali, remember? It's unbelievable. You can pick up the bacon, fry it up in the pan. I remember, it's unbelievable. That's how much it was drilled into people's heads. And I was a kid.
Me too.
I remember it. And that's what they did. So now they said, well, the mommies that don't want to work, well, we got to get them out too. Because first of all, we want their tax revenue. Second of all, we want them to be away from the kids so the state slowly can become the daddy of the kids. And, the TV, and put them in front of Sesame Street, which started out okay and turned into this lunacy that it is today. Disney as well. Disney has always been satanic, but always from the very beginning. But at least there was the because of the appeal, because of the money, because they appealed to the Christian audience, basically, Judeo-Christian audience of moral people. They had to give these nice moral fables, and they put in all these little pictures of penises and sexual positions that nobody notices unless you look real close.
Mm-hmm. Unless you know what you're looking for, but it's there.
Sexualization.
Yeah. There's the hypersexualization now.
Yeah.
The little today, the kids, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Miley Cyrus,
yeah. Look at what is that? Boo Boo, or what's her name?
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo. Yeah. I mean, come on. Those poor little.
It's like all these child stars go through that whole cycle, that rise and fall of where they just
beauty pageants.
They hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'm glad that you were talking about.
So keep going.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Follow your thought. I'm just saying, because what we're doing is we're still hitting on these bullet points.
Yeah.
And
you're talking about how they're replacing the state.
We're not even halfway done.
I know, right?
Exactly.
I'm serious. We got to keep going. What about the propaganda in the schools? Creation of the Department of Education in 1979. The fact that it was discovered by Charlotte Iserby that she worked in the Department of Education under Reagan, that they were indoctrinating kids through education. Soviet-style indoctrination program. Shut up and you're fired, is what Reagan said.
Right.
A perfect example of that now is with Agenda 2030, how one of their sustainable development goals is education, where with things like Common Core, where they're trying to have a global standardization of education, replacing the family or the father figure in the family unit without having that structure. They're trying to replace that with the state. They're trying to have it to where we're dependent on the government for any kind of guidance, any kind of direction, any kind of growth.
Touche.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. And, and we're still, it's funny because we're going to keep going on this because this is a good train right here. And it just keeps going because there's more. So then we have the Hollywood, which has been, again, taking away first of all, it's always been violent. So the gun haters in Hollywood put the most violence that you could ever imagine on the screen. With gun violence, torture, the most horrific movies, and people love to see them.
Right.
People love to see people's arms getting cut off. And,
right.
And all this gore.
And
where did that come from?
And they carry that.
That started in the 80s.
And they carry that now over into the lifelike first person shooter with all the video games, and they wonder why our kids are becoming violent and why everything's happening.
And then
it's by design.
All this stuff affects people's behavior.
Right. Totally by design.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then what about the subliminal messages that are everywhere to this day? That continue to try to keep people, thinking a certain way. It's there. We see it every day. Every day. In ads,
it's programming.
It's programming. You see it in these ads with a kid, like what's her name? Selena Gomez, whatever her name is. She's like leaning against a tree, and then in the leaf of the tree, you could just see it. And somebody put it on a post on Facebook, and they wrote around it so you could actually really read it, but you could see it if you look at it. It says sex.
Yeah.
So and that's another great book you should read is Subliminal Seduction by Wilson Bryan Key. Fantastic book that goes into how we're being mind controlled on a daily basis. And then Edward Bernays, this whole idea of what they did with the PSYOP to appeal to the emotions. The reason why everyone buys all this shit that they don't need is because it appealed to their emotions to buy it, not to their logic or intellect.
You're right.
It is. That's why right. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just agreeing with you. That's why we're dealing with a lot of things that we are dealing with is because we're reacting emotionally instead of looking at it with our logical mind. We're feeling instead of actually thinking, and that's
especially
different.
If you're that's right. If you're a liberal, that's exactly what it's all about. It's all about feelings. It's not about the real thing. It's just about feelings are what matter, and that's what happens in school. I remember this. This is what they push: feelings. I remember and I'm in my 40s, right? But I remember even going to college. I took a film, and it was about a German film class. I thought I was going to be studying about Fritz Lang and but it turned out it was all of these films that were about the feelings of the German people after the Holocaust. How the German people felt.
Right.
And it was like not the class that I didn't enjoy it at all actually. But now looking back in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God, I see what it's all about. So they made this whole thing with guilt and shit, and they built this whole thing of how to deal with the guilt of what happened in the Holocaust. And I was like, wow, it was unbelievable.
Well, it feels like
I'm
glad you're on it because it feels like what we're talking about basically is legitimizing or legalizing psychosis. I feel like that's a dangerous trend that's been popping up lately. Is like,
of course,
yeah.
Oh my God.
we have just been going off into just.
Dangerous territory.
Psychotic break where it's supposed to be normal that
and this goes
these mental breaks.
But this goes back to the Luciferian up is down, black is white, left is right. They're confusing us on what is right, what is wrong. Child pedophilia is right, where same-sex marriage is wrong. Gay sex is right when, so we're seeing everything's getting turned upside down and backwards. We're seeing we're seeing what they're trying to do is they're trying to legitimize evil, basically.
Absolutely.
And the more perverse it is, the better the more they're pushing it.
What were you going to say?
I have an article pulled up right now from June 6th from the Daily Sheeple where it says New York City officially recognizes 31 different gender identities now. And they have 2 separate categories of what gender identity is and gender expression. And I feel like when they do this kind of this psychotic stuff, this demented stuff, they're like with math, they're adding way too many extra steps to what's necessary. They're adding too many steps, too many things that change the fundamentals of what's basics. Like it's a man and a woman. That's how we got here. It wasn't 32 different or 31 different genders that it's crazy. It's crazy.
This isn't Baskin Robbins, folks. Okay.
Right.
But that's how they want it. They want their flavors like Americans want their food. They want it, and this is how we tie back to, if anything, the transhumanist idea. How they feel like with all this crazy scientific talk or the crazy changing of humanity, transhumanism, where they can have 31 different genders just for two bases. Like, I don't know, it's crazy to try to break down, but the fact is there's children that have to grow up in this psychotic society, and they're having to learn all of this psychosis, and we're just propagating it. It's insane, because what's going to happen afterwards? Like, what are we breeding when we look at this type of stuff?
Oh, every generation is more and more enslaved. Eventually, like I said, we'll all be plugged into computers. If we're lucky, we had a few, years to live, and breathe free air and whatever, and then they're just gonna, I see that coming. I really do. And it's an easy way to sell people that, and also trips to Mars. I think we're going to see an awful lot of one-way trips to Mars in the next 25 years, and you know, I don't know. You couldn't pay me any amount of money to go to Mars. I mean, I don't think they'll ever get past the stratosphere.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a hard time getting past that pesky old Van Allen belt. You know? Yeah.
But I mean, it's perfect to get rid of people. I mean, but hopefully the ships don't cost too much money. But well, where do you think the money's been going with NASA all these years?
Exactly. But
Well,
yeah.
did you guys catch that article where it says, "Will humans be cloned in space? NASA wants to grow body parts on Mars."
Holy Jesus! Yeah, it's like it's like a Twilight Zone, like a twisted Twilight Zone. Life has become a Twilight Zone episode.
It has. You know, did you check out the new X-Files that were out a couple months ago? I got to tell you, Howard, been doing this for 40 years, you know, and I swear I went into a panic attack watching the first episode of the new X-Files. I went into a panic attack. I was hyperventilating. Dave says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh my God, somebody stole my notebooks for the last 40 years and made an episode of X-Files of it." I mean, it was just like, oh my God, I'm truly living. I'm living in Truman, the Truman Show, X-Files, Twilight Zone, all into one. And it's getting worse. And it's not getting any better. It's just getting worse.
I feel like I'm glad that we're talking about the sci-fi reality because we're there now. You know, people.
It's not sci-fi anymore.
So long, how many different things that could happen, you know, all the advanced technology that we do know is there. I mean, look at what we have access to in the white world, you know, and we can casually talk about NASA cloning body parts and sending it to Mars. Like that's how much things have changed in the reality that we're dealing with now. And we can't.
Science fiction is all the science fiction from back in, I mean, Jules Verne's time, H.G. Wells. I mean, it's not science fiction anymore, it's science fact. And whatever they put out for us that they're trying to tell us that, you know, the technology, these cell phones that we have, the technology that we hold in our hands, they've got 100, 150 years ahead of what they give us.
Did you know what Nancy Pelosi said? What?
Whenever she was talking about how Nancy Pelosi said that federal research had been at the smartphones, but what's his name? Steve Jobs did a good job putting it together. Like federal grants and federal research got all the research, the inventions that were needed.
Yeah, that's who did it.
Put it together.
Yeah, that's who did it.
I was like, oh wow, really? I feel like that was a very ballsy statement to make, Miss Pelosi. You know, like regardless,
her family gets from her, you know, getting contracts out, her and the other one, Feinstein, the other criminal in California.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But H.G. Wells, you know that H.G. Wells in I'm trying to remember what year it was. I'm not exactly sure, but he wrote a book called The World Order as well, and the New World Order. And he talked about the direction we're going from this, again, Masonic point of view, you know, and we have to really understand that it's not Freemasonry. Freemasonry is just sort of like most widely known, but the secret societies in the code, the Committee of 300, the Council of 13, all of these orders that go through that, and the Vatican, you know, the Holy See and the Knights of Malta, all these things are all the same order, working for the same goal. That's why it's like freaking me out when the Pope starts saying stuff like, you know, gay marriage, let's not worry about this so much. I mean, and Catholics are really like upset. People that really think that Catholicism is actually, you know, the way it was intended, you know, they're good people, have been duped. I mean, it's the Catholic Church, as for those that are not aware, has been infiltrated for somewhere around 700 years, and around the same time, interestingly enough, that the Muslims started having a lot of mayhem going on. Isn't that true? Something like that? I think it was maybe 800.
Well, there were also Nazis that escaped from World War II.
Oh, they all.
I think,
well, the Nazis. Do you know that none of the churches were destroyed in World War II? The Vatican, none of the Christian church, the Catholic churches, the great churches of Europe.
Oh yeah.
Not one.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Did you also not know that they missed one place in Denmark? I think it was Denmark or Holland, one of those places. And when they were doing the renovation, they found an altar under the altar of God.
Huh.
They found another altar.
Okay. Interesting.
That was an ancient church. And none of the others were destroyed.
Right.
So when you start putting all these little pieces together, it's really, the puzzle gets very, very clear.
It does.
What's going on here. I mean, this isn't like, none of this stuff's an accident. So you have to question everything. There are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Especially if they push it on them in the media.
I just watched over the weekend, or no, actually it was, when did I watch it? I was on the road last week. I watched it on the road. I think like Wednesday or Thursday and Friday. I watched The Boys from Brazil. First time I've ever watched it.
100 times.
First time I ever watched it.
First time?
Yeah, because you know what? It's kind of slow. It starts out pretty. It starts out slow. Okay, I'm gonna warn you, and it's why I just before I used to try to watch it, and I would it's my OCD kicked in, and I was like, yeah.
It's not that slow. The kid gets killed in the first 10 minutes.
I know, but it was a little slow for me. But so I started watching it, and it was funny because it's like wow. I mean, everything they talk about, Ejay, everything they talk about basically Project Paperclip. Dr. Mengele goes to Argentina, and he starts this project with the Nazis that have escaped, and it's I'm not going to give it away. It's really good if you haven't watched it. I definitely recommend it.
Fantastic movie. It
really very good movie. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first time I watched
cloning. Just not to ruin the story.
Yeah, but I was just about to say that I've heard. That's the only thing that I have heard about it is it has to do with cloning.
Has to do with cloning.
And Mengele.
And Mengele. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So a really good movie. Put a lot of things, kind of, stuff that I've already known, but kind of, gave it a kind of a
confirmation.
Yeah, we'll put a face to you know what I'm saying?
I did an interview with Paul Pasternak. He's Walter Pasternak was his uncle. And Walter Pasternak was very involved with MK Ultra and all of these experiments that were going on. And Mengele, who everyone keeps saying that he was never. Mengele worked for the CIA.
Oh yeah.
And he oh my God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he actually had done some stuff to Paul when he was a baby. And Paul's really messed up. He lives in a car in Seattle, lives out of a car whenever he gets minutes once in a while.
Oh.
I've gotten in contact with him, and he's for real, man. It's his uncle. It is his uncle. I mean, Walter Pasternak is his uncle. And for anyone who doesn't know who Walter Pasternak is, he was under Sidney Gottlieb for Project MK Ultra and the CIA from the 50s through 73. Yeah. And so I mean, the rabbit hole is so deep, but it's all connected. Everything meets in the middle. It really does. It really does.
Can I actually get your opinion real quick, Howard, on Bilderberg? Or have you heard anything discussed outside of the Precariat and a few other things that they have going on? Have you heard anything?
Well, I know that it's I think it's scheduled for this coming.
They're there.
It was this weekend. It was the 9th. It's over.
It's over. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the list. I published the list. I passed it along.
Yeah, I did too. I published
the usual suspects. I mean, I don't understand why people get so upset when you've got defense secretaries and bankers and heads of major corporations in the military-industrial complex, and you have major news magazines and news sources and the 6 companies that own all the major media sources, and a bunch of bankers and some rich people, a couple of organizations like the Council of Foreign Relations, Club of Rome, these type of. Why do people get upset with these people getting together in secret? What do you think they could be doing? Everyone's so paranoid.
Everybody's so paranoid. What could they possibly be doing?
Check out.
Oh man,
doesn't that interest you a little bit? What's going on behind that fence? Maybe they have a pool. Maybe they have
there's also
a whole bunch
of queens in there. I forgot to mention that, and some You know, war criminals, many war criminals actually. Henry Kissinger goes every year. Him and David Rockefeller, the other.
They're more interested in the
They gave him another heart. You know, he got another heart transplant.
Yeah.
You know,
How many is this now? 7?
6 or 7. He got it probably from some like 15-year-old kid in China. They probably just said, "Here, you come with me," and they just cut his heart out and put it right into his.
Here's the thing is, I mean, how old is this guy really? I mean,
that's what's crazy.
We kind of know how old he is because they tell us how old he is. But you know, I'm sorry, but I think
counting, he's 97.
Well, that's how old they say he is, but I think he's a lot older than that, for crying out loud. You know.
And then with all this other technology and him getting heart transplant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, if he hasn't already achieved it to some degree, like if he's not just switching back to this body for public display.
Right.
Like they're you know, call me paranoid, but there's a possibility of it too. There's a reason why this technology is being pushed this hard. And if at 97 he has access to have his 6th heart transplant.
6th or 7th. He's on his 6th or 7th. Yeah.
Yeah, like something's.
Well,
something's going on.
He's one of the. It's ridiculous because they don't even put him on the list of the wealthiest people, but because of the way his money is extracted, or I should say, compartmentalized. Yeah, it makes it look like he's only worth like I think 50 million or something. I swear to God, he's not even a billionaire, which is such a joke to believe that. I mean, that's what they publicly say.
Right.
But his holdings, forget about it. You know, his trust holdings and other things like that. You know,
his offshore accounts.
Yeah. Oh God, it's ridiculous. It's like they make them out to be like so benevolent because they, you know, put the name on a couple of buildings. You know, but they just keep stealing from everyone else and.
Oh yeah. Rob from the rich, rob from the poor to give to the rich. I mean, that's all it is, you know.
With that, yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's trying to look to see in the chat room. We got any questions in the chat room for Howard tonight? Yeah, we got quite a few people in there. The usual suspects are in there. So, but yeah.
So that's the way they're going. The new thing is, I mean, you know, because of course Prometheus, which is Lucifer as well, and the light bearer.
Yep.
He adorns Rockefeller Center. And yeah, I mean, you got to look at this thing with Rockefeller. It's interesting. Did you know that like 2 years ago, I think it was last year maybe even, that Rockefeller's grandson died in that plane crash?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Right around, I forget what it was, but it sort of had some significance as far as dates.
Was it the semiconductor? Was it the semiconductor plane, or was that another?
No, that was a different one.
Plane crash?
That was a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a different one. He wasn't in the France one. But yeah, I mean, we see the ancient gods with small g. We see them adorning a lot of the buildings. You know,
that's their god.
Right. I mean, and to speak of the semiconductor CERN, I mean, we've got the Hindu god Shiva dancing between the dimensions right outside the facility there. You know, and yet they're, you know, so. You know, that's a whole different topic. That's a wow.
Well, speaking about Molech, you know, it's very interesting with Molech, right? I was driving. I live in Connecticut, so I'm driving on Route 84 going into Hartford, and it's just around nighttime, and just like getting dark, right? And I look across, and I see the spires, the tops of Trinity College, which is over there. And looking at it, it was lit up with the 2 windows, like 2 eyes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, there's some like static.
I know, I hear it.
Anyway, so I'm driving, and I noticed that there are 2 eyes, and then the way the spires are on the top, it looked like, say, Batman. You know what I'm saying, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then so it was like, and it was really, really pronounced and identifiable. Like if you're looking at it at night, it shines. This big tower at Trinity College. And then I just happened to, like, it was like weird, like another day, some other time, I'm on a street that goes directly, literally, like if you were to take the street, it goes right to where that tower is, you know?
Okay.
And along the line in that, and so I said, what the hell, let me go and look at this thing. And then I get there, and there's something called St. Anthony's Hall. And St. Anthony's Hall it turns out, is a secret society which uses the symbols of the skull and bones, right? The skull, right, and bones, and the other symbol is on a shield, and this is into the stone of the building.
Interesting.
Of a key and a sword. And it is. I just inquired about it, and it's the elite, wealthiest people. In other words, J.P. Morgan was one of them. He went there, and this is some new information that and imagine you just find something like, and I'm telling you that building was built like that. Again, it's a tribute to Moloch, because it's just the way the site is. You can, anyone that's illumined, anyone that knows,
right,
when they're coming up on 84, they'll see Moloch. It's fucking scary. I'm gonna get a video of it one night. It's there every night. I mean, it's there. You know, I know exactly where it is. The stretch.
Have you seen anything strange happen like around there? Like maybe cars at 2 o'clock in the morning there that shouldn't be there, or
shouldn't be
lights.
No, I've never really. No, it's a college. It's very like, you know, it's known in the Ivy League.
I was just gonna say, you know, Skull and Bones. It was built by masons. They know exactly what they've done. Each brick was laid intentionally, and you know, now you are not far, I don't think, from Brookhaven.
Labs?
Brookfield, yes. Brookhaven Labs.
New York?
Yes, Brookhaven, New York. And that's far from, and that is the other.
I have friends that live right by the Brookhaven Labs.
Okay, well that's the other CERN lab that we have here, and I have one about 30 minutes from where I live called the Fermi Lab here outside of Chicago.
Nice.
So yeah.
We can all cook each other.
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping I'll go. We just go quick. I'm to the point where I'm just ready to put a target on my head and go. You know, if there's something asteroid or something coming, just plan it right down here. You know, Chicago.
What happens if you go into a black hole? They haven't figured it out yet.
You know, I'm to the point where I'll volunteer. I'll check it out. Give me a flashlight. I'll check it out. I just.
I mean, when I read the first thing, I haven't done too much. I mean, I'm a little like peripheral on CERN. You know, I'm not like, I will not say that I'm well read on it. But when I read about it, the first thing I remember reading was saying that, well, if you create a black hole, I said, well, what the fuck are you worried? What are you doing? Why are you messing with something that can create a black hole? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Why doing it? Because they can. Why not?
Because they can. It's like, why do you climb a mountain? Because it's there.
It's there. Right. Exactly. I was seriously.
Well, because I can. You know it's going to eat you, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you know, the potential is there. They have the possibility of creating a black hole. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Do you guys have I'm sorry, but even if you've got protocols in place to take care of it, what are you going to do if you produce a black hole?
What protocol is going to stop the world from sucking?
Right. That's what I mean. What protocol do you have in place that can stop this?
Trying to figure out a way to just suck a few people, like specific people out.
I've got a few people they can suck through, let me tell you. Let me get my list. Hold on a minute. Where's my list? Let me see here. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a list.
It really does get to a point where you just have to start laughing at how crazy this world is getting.
Yeah.
It's just like every day it's something new.
The truth of the matter is,
a couple ex-husbands.
I feel like I'm in a Fellini movie. It's like surreal. The world is just surreal. I mean, everything that appears to be one way is another way, and everything that is true in some way or another has some sort of a hidden agenda or some sort of
underlying tone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, you can't, we used to be able to depend on Americans, like we're Americans, this is America, You can't depend on Americans.
Feet on your chest, No, you can't, because you know what? They're so dumbed down. They're drinking the fluoride. They're eating the GMOs. They're sucking the air from the chemtrails. Their minds are being sucked out by mainstream media and their freaking cell phones or the computer and the internet. No, we can't rely on anybody. There's a meme out there that shows asteroids pelting the earth, and everybody's got their phones taking selfies with it. You know, that's exactly how we're going to go out. You know, something big is going to happen, and everybody's going to have to worry about, oh my God, I can't charge my damn phone.
Yeah, do you remember the movie Independence Day? They're remaking it, you know, which sort of scares me. But that was a good movie.
But yeah, but what is weird is they're not releasing it on July 4th, which is what I thought they would do.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? Well, maybe July 4th is going to be the day that the Islamic terrorists, you know, start, you know, their sleeper cells just wake up and start, you know, going on jihad.
Well, I mean, it is the final couple days of Ramadan, so that's a possibility.
I'm telling you, that's not everything.
That's not a coincidence.
Everything is numbers. They could have figured that out July 4th, 1775.
Right.
You know, July 4th. Because it's significant, the whole date, the significance of the calendar, you know,
right.
the horoscope, the astrological, you know, astrology. And
well, I mean,
they wouldn't have done this, wouldn't have made this plan as well. I mean, they planned everything.
They did
everything,
and
they planned it hundreds of years sometimes in advance.
Oh, this is just yeah. You know, I've been telling people that there's you know, something having to do with the cancer coming up. The 69, the cancer we saw, tons of people dying a few months ago. They were 69 who died of cancer. Did some research, and I realized that the astrological sign for cancer, if you look on it, it's a sideways 69. So so I put out and I told people, I said, we need to start watching from June 21st, which is the summer solstice, to July 22nd, which is the starting of Leo. I said, this is the time frame that we need to pay attention to. Not realizing when I did this that Ramadan falls in that. Also, Bohemian Grove is in that time period too. You know,
it's all related. It really is. I mean, I explain that to people, and I don't know how many are getting it. But if you research this and you look into it, there are no coincidences. Coincidences don't exist. They just don't. I mean, everything is tied together. And then if you look at the bloodlines, it's from everything. Look from the bloodlines of the families to the connections to the media to the. I mean, Anderson Cooper is Vanderbilt. He was CIA. He is CIA.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody who's anybody who's
is one of them. Right?
Is one of them. Exactly. You don't get to be anybody. And I'm talking anybody, whether it be Hollywood, business. You know, I mean, I'm leaning. Here's the thing: is, you know, let's talk about Trump for just a second. Trump.
You never asked. You were saying we were going to talk. That's when it started. An hour ago, we talked about Trump. Political, you know, like whatever.
Well, I kind of got up, but Trump is a, say what you want about him, but he's still in the Billionaires Boys Club.
Yeah,
and
he is in the club. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about it.
I'm concerned. I would love it to be real, but I'm concerned that history has proven that you know, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, we've got it.
Remember Obama? Remember the Obama? The ether wore off real fast. Remember that big, you know, euphoria that was going on in America for about 2 years.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Trump is I always see him throwing up the whole Illuminati 6 thing. And
constantly. That scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And he always does it like in specific phrases or specific he's mentioning.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Dude.
And if you look, he does it in patterns of 3.
Yeah. He's power. Yeah, he's one of those.
I'm telling you, you could really. I mean, that's why it's like, I don't know. You know, could that be a coincidence too? I don't know.
No way.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I don't believe in coincidences.
It's just that way, man. It really. You know, again, I just want to believe, but that's just human nature, I guess. Maybe that's why we're slaves.
Yeah.
Because we all want to believe.
This is it. This is the one. This is the change that we've been waiting for. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, that was 4 years ago. Deja vu. I think I've heard that one before. Yeah.
It's like, have another beer. I think you might have heard that.
Yeah, I might have heard that one before.
Well, the only thing you can say about that as well is that, no, listen, the truth of the matter is this. My wife makes this point because she supports Trump, and again, I pray that he's real. And he makes a very good point. The man arguably has the largest mean, you can argue that he's one of the biggest egos in the world. What, for an American, a true American, someone that I really believe would want to, like fight like a patriotic American, What, I mean, it's got to be like, who would want to be the greatest friend? Because of his personality, he would want to be not only a good president, but the greatest president. And that type of, I guess you could say, work ethic or motivation or whatever you want to call it, there's something to be said for that, because he would be one of the people that wouldn't want to go down in history. Donald Trump doesn't want to go down in history as being like I don't know, anti-American or Hoover or something like that, or well, it would be worse than that. It would be, Benedict Arnold or something more like that, right? So I think that there's a good chance that he could be the real deal. And if they try to kill him, I would be more inclined to believe that he's the real deal.
Well, you know that he does have an Illuminati card, right?
A card?
Yeah.
What do you mean a card?
You know the Illuminati card game?
Oh, the card game, that would make sense, actually.
Yeah, he does have an Illuminati card. Well, I'm going to read you what it says. On his Illuminati card, it says, at any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day.
And that's on his card?
If you look at the images, I'll send it to you when we get done with the show. But it definitely looks like him. I'm telling you.
It's the enough is enough card. It looks like his face.
Yeah,
it's like a piece of glass being broken.
That was from the original one from like 83. Yes. Or was the 96 one or the 83 one?
I think it was from the 83 one, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. See, it's like, again, how can these people that don't understand, they don't want to just believe it. I mean, 1983, all 3/4 of that deck came true.
Right.
Right.
And that's what they used the, what is it? Was called, just went out of my head what it's called. How they did it, I can't remember what it's called. Not projected imaging, but
predictive programming.
No, there's a name for it. I can't think of it. Oh, never mind. Good God.
It's all right.
We're getting distortion. Okay, guys. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to again thank you for having me on. It was a great chat. We should try to do this again.
We should, Howard. I want to thank you for coming on.
Have Howard on again.
I want to thank you. Yeah, we're getting distortion from the audio now, so this is what's been happening the last few days. I'm not the only one that's doing it. Dabu's had problems. Ron's been having problems. So. But I want to thank you.
I stopped doing live recordings live broadcasts because I just get hacked.
Yeah. Well, look at what happened when you, me, and Gary went on. Oh my God! We were getting bombarded.
I know.
It was terrible.
It's just, people that can't understand that either. It brings even more clarity to understanding that you're actually we're actually beating the drum of resistance here, and we got to just keep beating that drum of resistance and keep trying to wake people up and challenge them to prove us wrong. I mean, all the stuff you guys heard today, the ones that are anybody that's listening on a rebroadcast, from YouTube,
yep.
That maybe is not part of the choir, because a lot of times I feel that we preach to the choir. Research this stuff. Find your own truth.
Right. Do your own due diligence. Don't believe anything we say. Do your own research.
But don't dismiss it either. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that's what they want. That's why the world is the way it is, because nobody pays attention to what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Howard, can you tell the listeners where we can find you?
Yes. So you can. The best place is probably my website, which is howardnema.com. It's just easy to remember. But on YouTube, I have a new channel, which is Truth Talk News Channel 2. Hopefully you can subscribe there. But the other older channel, the actual original channel, not the one that was taken down, but the original channel, which does really well, and hopefully they won't attack that. It's a good channel. It's got a lot of really good information. That's Truth Talk News. So it's Truth Talk News, Truth Talk News Channel 2, and HowardNema.com.
And I will put all the links to how to get a hold of Howard in the description box underneath the show when it's over with. I want to thank you, Howard, for joining us. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. I want to thank everybody listening. And I want to thank you, EJ. Thank you again for coming on. This is twice today. I feel so blessed.
Thanks, EJ. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Howard.
God bless you, Howard.
God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, so we are, like I said, 2 times today, EJ. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege, and we shall talk again. We shall meet again.
Thank you for having me, Miss Lori. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I want to thank everybody in the chat room. I thank everybody for tuning in. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay strong. God bless. Bye-bye. Okay, we are hopefully off the air this time. What happened last time? That was really funny.